Hello, I'm a blue peasant, and welcome to Dwarf Fortress. Or rather, welcome to Dwarf Fortress 4014, where we're going to cover exactly how it's different from 4013. To the best of my limited ability, because peasants really don't know how to do anything. Now, I'm just reading off the list here, really. So, 4014. Perhaps the most biggest difference is the change in thoughts, personality, and emotions. Prior to 4013, thoughts and emotions was basically dwarf is ecstatic because these things happen to her or happen to him, and the dwarf is miserable because these things happen to him or her or him. So now instead of that, we start off with a blurb here. Like, she is near a table, she is very happy. I'm a little worried that they're so easily pleased, but I guess you take what you can get. And you can see that after that, it lists out exactly how she felt with the... I spent way too much time on the internet if I'm getting very bad vibes with the word pleasure. So you can see that she has good thoughts from being near good furniture, and then within the last season it covers... I wonder if this is all the things or just a majority of the things that happened within the last season, being the last 3 months or so. Currently we are in mid-autumn, I believe. And all these other stats have been here for the past... God knows how many versions. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. So this is the biggest difference. I assume that since this is now broken down more... It is now broken down more finely than before, where, let's say, in the previous versions, if all of your dwarves were friends with one particular dwarf, and that dwarf dies, there's going to be a waterfall of sadness that permeates through your fortress. And if enough dwarf dies, everybody's miserable, you get tantrum spirals, you get tantrum spirals, people picking fights, going berserk, basically bad things happen. I haven't had the chance to play through a lot of this right now, so I haven't gotten a chance to see it, but I'm assuming that if enough sad events occur to certain dwarves, or to the fortress as a whole, their reactions are going to be a lot more varied, as opposed to just, going insane, going violently insane, going unhappily insane, or just going insane. Because there's really only one of 3 things that can happen for them. Okay, that's fine. Job item misplaced. So yeah, that's the emotion, circumstance. Honestly, I find it really interesting how they, like, if you were to stop it and keep talking to them, what's this about proper live? Thank you too, manager. God. This is an above ground fort that has only had about 1 game year put into it, so you can only see the major walls. I haven't put in like a second story or anything. So this structure right here, I can just use my mouse for this. This structure right here is where all the seeds are stored. This is like the dining hall, and that's kind of it really. Farms go down, the mines with rocks being hewn for more above ground construction, so on and so forth. So yeah, living conditions are a little suboptimal right now. Never forget true loyalty. Damn straight, soldier. Damn straight. Traitor, I've been wounded. It's annoying. Yeah, I think this is a pleasant side effect from the change in thoughts and emotions. Although, again, I didn't play 4013 all that much, so it was probably back there as well. I think it was back there as well. Is that a couple of in-game months ago, a bunch of kobold thieves showed up. If you're familiar with the game, which if you're watching this video you really are, kobold thieves have generally one pattern behavior, that is, if you see them, they run away. Not this guy. Not this guy. Basically, we saw him, and then he pulled out his knife, and then he shanked the chicken. He shanked the chicken right here, he cut his head off, and then proceeded to chase a sheep into the fortress, up a cliff, or rather up the slope onto the wall, stabbed the poor girl, and then before he was essentially killed by the town militia, or the castle militia. Which is kind of why she's wounded, because, you know, she got stabbed. And she got hit. Yeah, you can see she was horrified after seeing the kobold die. Why would you be horrified after seeing some? Well, I guess if you're a normal person, even if someone was stabbing you and then you saw them, you know, get ran through, it would be kind of horrifying. Let's see, her chicken was killed. Yeah. She made some friends, and she experienced trauma. She didn't feel anything while in conflict. Might have been the adrenaline, I don't know. Yeah, her head bears the mark of old wounds, massive straight scar. So she got cut in the head, cut in the head, cut in the hand, cut in the leg. I hope her nerves heal, because otherwise she'd be using Crush for all her life. And that would be, then again, all her life in Dwarf Fortress is like 2 or 3 years tops, so not a huge deal, I guess. Okay, so I guess that more or less covers the personality types. Let's see, what do you have to say here? Let's make a deal. Well, you can continue making armor, and I won't drop you into the pond. I will not drop you into the pond, but, you know, I just might. Alright, so that's the first thing covered. Next on the list is Dwarven happiness have been replaced by a longer-term stress level, and a few new effects have been added. So, yeah. Good man, soldier, good man. I'm assuming that the color code means that red is some level of stress, and if they get enough red, they will break, in a sense. Vengeful joining an existing conflict, because you were not responsible for killing the kobold, so you just showed up for it. Yeah, so it ties into the thoughts with the personalities, emotions, and the other fun stuff. Yeah, I can't wait to see what a tantrum spiral properly looks like. That's gonna be really interesting. Next on the list, let's keep this running. Plant gathering zones can be used to set up fruit harvesting from trees using a new step ladder. What's this? Ginkgo. Okay. Pecans. I don't know what pecans are actually. I've had them. I've never seen them. Yes, I have. Yeah. So. Plant gathering zones is essentially the old activity zones with the gather pick fruit option added in, which means that you don't need to wait. Do not pick fruit from trees. Okay? Guys. Guys. Pecans. Go get pecans. Oh, come on, really? Fine. I'll use this zone instead, see what happens. There they go. So yeah, they will now, within the gathering zone, they will gather from the bushes that you usually had to use the gather plants commands on, like this. So they can automatically gather from the zones as you set them, which does reduce a little bit of the micromanagement that's a little inherent in the game. Although you just kind of have to gather like the entire map and you're kind of good to go. And another thing are these little things. The PT signs? That's what they look like. But yes, these are the step ladders. Now, as far as I can see, they don't seem to want to recover the step ladders after using them. At least, judging by the fact that they essentially left all their damn step ladders here, they don't really care about picking them back up. Which is a bit irritating, because, you know, you should clean up after yourselves. I wonder if this means... I wonder if this is just a bug. If it is, that's great. If it's not, you know... Eventually the map will be populated by nothing but step ladders. Which will be interesting. I kind of want to see that, actually, a map that's been populated entirely by step ladders. But yes, when using the step ladders, and I can't really show this off because there's really no fruit on the trees, but within the step ladders, if they stand on here, they will be able to reach like all the fruit in this area. In this particular area, they could pick it off the trees and then carry it home. And then we would all be very happy because, you know, above ground food and all that fun stuff. Winter's right on the calendar. Yay! Yeah, it's essentially another way for an above ground fortress to get food. And I have to admit, it says a lot about the Dwarf Fortress community. I consider myself a member of the community, as odd as that may seem. But it's kind of weird how it's like other people, like most other games are like, you know, we're going to release new maps, we're going to release like these spiffy new weapons, and then we look at the patch notes, we look at the release announcements, and we go, yes, step ladders. Does anybody else get this kind of feeling? Because I was really excited when Cody said he was going to release step ladders. Like, really excited. Also, there's still a dead chicken here, but, you know, it's a dead chicken, whatever. Okay, next. Plant gathering zones can also handle old shrub jobs. Yeah, I just showed that off. Fallen fruit can also be gathered from zones. I don't know if gathering from... What are you doing? Something else? Oh, okay. I don't know if gathering from the fruits that have fallen from the ground versus gathering from fruits that are still in trees has some sort of like a yield difference, but you know. You need to make step ladders to gather fruit from the trees, and that, if step ladders are just abandoned everywhere, then that might not be a good idea. Next, shrubs now have their berries, leaves, etc. gathered properly. Prickleberries. Well, it looks like they just still pick off the entire shrub bush. Yes, it looks like they still pick off the entire plant when they're getting the food, but that might just be a change that's not very easily reflected in the gameplay. It's just a back end kind of thing. Shrubs now have their berries, etc. gathered properly. Yeah, I just said that. Okay. As a stopgap, farm plot plants yield viable growth out of season upon harvest. Is this an underground thing? Because above ground, I've never seen the availability of seeds change throughout the seasons. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. And lastly, ooh, maybe we made all of the armor that we needed. Wonderful. Yay, more parties. Dear God, where are you guys celebrating? A very, very late Thanksgiving, I guess. In adventure mode, the last thing on the 4014 patch list, it is possible to ask about yourself, other people, and how they're feeling. I haven't played adventure mode. The really convoluted menus get to me a little bit, which is a bit unfortunate because I do like adventure mode. It's just it's hard to play and be immersed in it and enjoy it when like half the time you're fighting against the menu. Not really his fault because he has said that his menu sense is not very good. Other bugs fixes: stop immobile creatures from trying to flee terrain. Great. I've never seen an immobile creature at this point. The only immobile creature I should probably stop moving this around. That's a bad habit of mine. The only immobile creature I've ever seen in Dwarf Fortress is the giant sponge, and I'm not entirely sure I want to see a giant sponge at this point. Although I guess putting them inside the ponds would be a good idea. If I ever get any that are tameable. Fixed problem with fear versus stating proper opinion. That is a back-end thing, and I probably not reflected during normal gameplay. Not a big deal. Stopped harvest plant jobs from being added to farms slated for destruction. Okay, that's a back-end deal. Ooh. Hello, child. Where are you? You? Yep. World worked. Okay. So yeah, the farms can no longer try to plant stuff while they're being destroyed. That's not a big deal for us. Deconstructed farm plot loses items. I'm assuming that means that any seeds planted in a farm plot, and then if you destroy the farm plot, the seeds are lost. So, back end business. Oh yeah, I need more bags. Yarn. Bag. Make bags. And yeah, that's pretty much 4014. Now, obviously, this video is a little late on the update because there's a bunch of other bug fixes that Toady has made that has not been reflected in a later patch. But you know, that's gonna happen sooner or later. So. I guess this counts as a sort of a very rough overview of what 4014 gets us, which really is just people can now think and we can now eat fruits from trees. If you really break it down into the key play differences, and that's good because now we can have like properly baked pies and cherries mixed with apples, mixed with grapes, and all the other fun stuff. And paradise fruit. What is paradise fruit? So yeah, it's one of those patches that makes you hate the fact that you haven't eaten lunch yet. I should probably go eat lunch soon. I just watch some of these guys work a little more here. Yeah, quite literally, this is where everyone sleeps. This little shack off by the side of the main building that I haven't gotten the chance to expand. Alright. I should stop rambling. There's really nothing here, is there? But hey, I'm just a peasant. Signing off.